Well, hello. Here I am again. Just doing a little bit of work down here, but I'm getting ready to go hit the workbench for a little bit. So I invite you to come along and see what's going on. I got a new kit. It's been sitting on the shelf for a couple weeks, and I'm anxious to get into it. So I want to go over it with you. But first I'm going to try to set up this camera in a different way in my workshop so that you can see a little better than like that first build video I did with the whatever you call this thing, the downtown garage. So I'm going to try to do it a little bit so you can see kind of down onto the workbench and still at the same time not get my head in it. So I got to play around a little bit and do a couple little practice videos to see how it works. So hang tight, hang loose, have a cup of coffee or your beverage of choice, and I'll see you over in my workshop. Well, this is the third time I've tried to record this and make it so it's easier for you to see. So I think I got a new setup here with the camera. That'll work, at least for this part. So this is the unboxing, which I already unboxed because like I said, I've done this 3 times now. But I want to show you what's in this kit in case you want to get it. Majestic hardware and feed, kit number 0942 from Bar Mills Scale Model Works. It's the second Bar Mills kit I've done in a row. First one is on my list of videos. You can find it. It's on the downtown garage. And let me show you what's in here. It's always helpful to know. I watch a lot of unboxing videos myself. So in case I ever want to buy the product someone is unboxing, I'll have a heads up on what's all in it. Well, first thing we got is castings. These are metal, the white metal. There's, the rest of it looks like resin. So there's a pile of junk. There's, looks like a hand truck. There's piping. There's some boxes. There's dust collector. There's some vents. A little smoke jack. All this stuff will need cleaned up. The metal usually requires a little more work than the others to get cleaned up with flash and so forth. Little file usually takes care of this stuff. Usually a blade or some sandpaper will take care of any flash on this. Although from looking inside the bag, like these boxes don't appear to have much, if any, flash at all. So it shouldn't take long to get these ready to be primered and painted. We'll throw that off to the side. What do we got next? Got some stencils, so you can paint names of the business sides on the walls. Put them off to the side. Get your pre-cut acetate. It's got like a paper covering over it that you just peel off, and then you have your clear plastic. Different sizes for different sized windows and doors. Put that on the side. We got roofing material. First of all, rolled roofing. These are just peel and stick. You can paint them on the sheet, or you can peel and stick them and then paint them on the model, whatever you so choose. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 36 strips for your rolled roofing. Put that on the side. Next, some shingles, and this looks like, I'm not sure, that's for something. These are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 strips of shingles. You stagger them. These are actually a lot easier to paint on the sheet as opposed to on the building. So we shall put them off to the side as well. This is laser cut pieces of doors, windows, trim, frames, stuff like that. All very nice, very detailed. So all we're going to require for this to start with is to primer it, and then we'll paint. These are also peel and stick. With this stuff, I usually use a little bit of glue as well underneath, because I don't always trust the adhesive. Even though the last one I did, the adhesive was really strong, if I remember right, from that downtown garage. So let's put that over there. Then we have our strip wood. Looks like 2 sizes. The thicker stuff is for your bracing on the inside of the walls to prevent the warpage. And then you have a smaller size. These are squared off, so these are probably for corner posts and trim. Boy, man, I can't talk today. Trim work. All right. Here's another piece of roofing material. I don't know how well that'll show up, but it's corrugated, or embossed in corrugation. So this will be turned into rusty metal roofs. Probably cut it to the size you need, glue it on. Then we have our wall sections, all wooden. Other pieces and parts, more walls. This one's a little warped. Probably whenever I get the bracing on it and put some weight on it and stain it, it'll straighten right out. The rest of them seem pretty flat. Here's your laser cut brick, or stone actually. It's like cinder block foundation. More wall. Not sure what that is. Might be a floor. More wall. More bases, roof parts. These are for the roof, I believe. This is for roofs. A lot of roofs on this thing. Instructions, handy dandy. Here's a picture. You can paint it however you want. This is like a brownish color, like a brownish reddish The windows look brown. I don't think I'm going to paint it like that. I'm going to paint it probably a little different. But it tells you, the instructions will tell you a little history of the kit. So example, this started its life as an article in Railroad Metal. Man, talking weird today. Railroad Model Craftsman. Oh my gosh. Too much coffee. And our good friend Julian Cavalier did the drawings for Sycamore Feeds, as it was called at the time. So it's based on an actual prototype. All the shed roofs and overhangs actually existed. Flipping the page. Here's how other people have painted it in pictures, color pictures. Somebody did it nice red. That's kind of cool. The white's really nice. That's really nice. It's like white with red around the bottom, faded. I might do something like this. I'm leaning towards something like this or something like this. This is just too kind of orangish, reddish for me. That was really nice, but I don't know. Red itself is awful pain in the butt sometimes to get right. I don't know what it is. Reds and yellows. Sometimes they don't come out the way I like them to. But whites, they usually look real good. Whites, grays. All right, so here's, flipping this around. Here's your parts layout diagram. All the parts with their corresponding W5s and R2s and LS3s and all that stuff. Tell you what is. There's a key to the parts. So 1B, 2B, 3B, and 4B are your foundation assemblies. That's probably those cinder block pieces, which are here somewhere. There they are. So, some notes you want to read before you start. They give you some hints and tips. And speaking of hints and tips, if anybody's built this before, and you have any tips or tricks for me before I build it, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Appreciate it. It's always helpful to get other people's conundrums that they ran into and ways to fix things if you do run into them. At least in my head before I started. These are full. I did check these. These are scale, to scale drawings. Always helpful to refer to. Another one here. These ones are not to scale, but they're still very helpful to show you what the roof part will look like. It's an overhead view. There's instructions how to do your windows, the towers, the porch. Here's where to put your interior bracing. And I'm not going to take this as perfect. I will have to check and pre-fit the walls before they're glued together and before I glue the bracing parts on, which is the dark strips here. Because my last bar mills, if you had watched the other video, I did it like this for some dumb reason without checking to see if the walls would match up and square off. And some of these were too long and just royally screwed me up. Had to perform surgery. And I don't know why I did that, because I always test fit walls before I do the bracing. But just for you, for that video, I decided not to do it. Don't ask me why. There's more bracing over here. Shows you how to put the base together and the floor. Then how the walls are assembled for the main building. Oh boy, get over here. There's more, how to put the roof on. Here's how to put more roof on and put more windows on, more doors. to put the towers on. Flip over a lot of reading material in these couple pages. Always helpful to read. You should really read these things as before you start to put it together and while you're putting it together, just to make sure you didn't miss any little minute detail that can screw things up if you don't get it right. So they aren't complicated. This looks like it's complicated, but it's not super complicated. Yes, there's a lot of parts. If you take your time, it should not be hard. The walls are tab and slot. You can see maybe right there in that picture. So they join easily. Glue them and make sure they're square and straight. And that's it. So here's a lot more reading material. So I got a lot of reading here to do first before I get going. Here's instructions on how to paint your castings if you do it that way. Their way. Here's your signs. Some of these could look like they're painted on, such as like right here, maybe right here. This one looks like it's simulated to be tacked onto the wall. Maybe the same with that one up there. The open sign right here. In fact, I don't see an open here. Where's my open? Yeah, worry about it. All right, so that's the instructions. These are always very good. These guys do a great job with that. Now, due to the nature of my last bar mills, it was not wooden walls like this, if you recall. It was, what do they call that stuff now? Task board. It was meant to represent stucco, and you pretty much had to glue the walls together and then paint it, just because the way it is. This stuff, when I'm doing wood kits, I like to paint the walls on the sheet. I like to get the windows in on the sheet, any signs, maybe some light weathering. All this, I will try to pre-paint all this stuff. It's just the way I do it. You don't have to do it that way. You can put it all together and then paint it. But a lot of times, while I'm painting, when I do that, I end up knocking details off or messing up a sign or taking my finger and rubbing the window out of place or something. It's just easier for me to do it straight, flat onto the board before I even cut it out. Or cut it out and do it up flat on a mat here. So, there we are. We're all unboxed. Now, first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to worry about these thick ones, but I'm going to stain these corner posts, and I'm going to give a coat of gray primer on this roof. I'm going to shoot all this with a coat of primer. And all these parts, I'm going to first wash them. There's mold release agents on here, and if you wash them in soapy water first and let them dry, and get rid of those agents, and your paint adheres a little bit better. And then I'll get those primered, cleaned up and primered. So that's what my task is to start with. Alrighty, folks. So let's get to it, and then I'll come back with some photographs to show you what it looks like after I did what I just said. All right, see you in a minute or 2 or 10. Okay, the primering is done. Still a little tacky yet, but these dried pretty quick. All my window frames and doors and so forth. Just gave them a shot of it, like a beige, khaki colored primer. So they're all done. It looks like the windows, you're supposed to cut out those little squares, or a lot of them already fell out. But I'm going to try to leave a few in because they're going to look like patch outs, like the window was broken and somebody patched them. So that's all done. Set that to the side. Corner trim, I just give it a stain of a dark brown. It's actually called dark gray, not brown, sorry. Creosote black. Matches that color right there when it dries. Easiest way to do that, this is from Hunter Line Stains. Just dip it down in the bottle, pull it out, shake it off. Turn the other side around, dip it in the bottle, pull it out, shake it off, lay it on a paper towel, and there we go. So that's done. The corrugated metal roof material, I just gave it a light gray shot. It's still a little wet and tacky. You see it's kind of shiny. And all the parts, I also did these just with a light gray. These will all get hand painted. And they're kind of shiny because they're still a little wet. All the metal and the resin pieces, parts, and stuff. So, that's that. Next thing I'm going to do is go through all these sheets and mark the part numbers on the back side of each piece. It's a little easier to reference when you're going through the build. If it's already pre-matched up to what the instructions are talking about. So, with that, I'm going to let you go. And you can get yourself ready for episode number 2, which will be forthcoming. So this is the end of 1. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It's really cool. Hit the like button when you do that stuff. If you leave me a comment. Again, any tips or tricks, if you've already built this, let me know. That helps the algorithm boost it up so that more people can see. And it'll come up toward the top someday when people Google bar mills. So the video, maybe my video will be up there somewhere. Who knows? But anyway, it always helps. Thank you and have a great rest of your week.